Okay, we're all set. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I'd like to call the order meeting of the Responsible Employer Ordinance. I'm going to, the way the order is listed as public portion, but I'm going to skip down and go right to report on a project. So if Eloy can give us an update on things, where things stand on ongoing projects, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I am not prepared to do that. I was unaware that Shay would not be here today.
Okay.
I did see a report that went out to.
Yes, so we, so that probably came from us, the April progress report, which I'm more than happy to share my screen if and when it is.
Sure, please. Thank you.
Give me a second. All right. All right, can everybody see the screen okay?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, so this is where we are project to date on the DeBerry Swan Elementary School project. So for folks of color, 33%, for women, 5.6%, for veterans, 5%, and for residents, 19%. And so that, you know, those numbers haven't really shifted that much from the previous month. And so we have continued to, push people, especially those who are going to be right through the end of the project, to see, what they can, if they're able, if they still have significant hours to make sure that they have as much participation on the percentages. And I think at the last time we met, we were giving an update about the phase of the project. We are almost, we still have a little bit of while to go, but thinking ahead to what the demolition and abatement is going to look like. So in between the last time we met and now, we've had a meeting with the next round of subcontractors that are going to be coming in to do the abatement, demolition, and landscaping. And so they've shared their numbers, and in particular for residents, we're very encouraged by some of the outreach that some of the oncoming subs have already made to make sure that they are hitting the ground running when they start. So I'll just stop there, see if anyone has any questions.
Fiore or Tim? No questions? Okay, thank you.
I had to find a button. All right, so were you asking questions at what you just described, or the whole report, or generalization, I guess, is, or do you want me to wait to the end?
Just,
No, yeah, so yeah, I'm done. So if you have any,
Okay.
particular
Yeah,
questions.
So I think, look in the form of, you guys know, I try to be thorough, and I try to definitely push for, making sure we meet these numbers on these projects. So one of the things I think we're going to have to really do, maybe, excuse me, looking at the vet numbers, there's a lot of zeros. So I don't know, we don't, even my union, we don't really ask people what they're, if they're a veteran or not. But I think going forward on the next project, this is a generalization for everybody. We should make contractors aware that ID your veterans, because this is a category. This is supposed to be met. It's the newest one, so I'm not going to sit here and, talk about it all day, but I do think ID and veterans isn't probably being done if I were to guess, because we don't even do it. I have to guess who's a veteran or ask guys, as I would send them to when we were doing MGM or anything else. Second is the resident hours. We have 6 that are around 20%, So, or under, so they made an effort. They didn't quite exceed it, but they're trying. And then we still had 11 zeros, but I didn't clean out of the 11 because I already did my notes, but I can't find it on my desk. I must have put it in the card. 11 zeros, but those are potentially under five. A couple could be, I know the bottom three are under 500 hours. So right off the bat, we're down to 8. So I just really think, the zeros showing, and again, I'm still from the old school where we were doing waivers, and it is going to be about the makeup of the job. How many people are there? I get all that. If there's only 3 workers or 2 workers and it's not long. So I still try to go within what I think their makeup is. But, when we're seeing these large numbers and they still got zeros, they need to start doing a better job. So, and it's just a generalization. That's all. I'm not, what I didn't see on here, Liz, was the total numbers for okay, I'm sorry. It's at the end, correct? Yeah.
Oh, yes,
So,
it's 2 pages. Here, I can.
Minority, great. Women were almost there. Veterans were almost there. And residents were almost at 20%. So I'm not complaining about the numbers. They're not being met, but I'm not sitting here to complain about them. We're working on it. So I appreciate that. Thank you for, going about your job.
So thank you so much, Vera. I really appreciate that feedback. And maybe I'll ask you this, because we have had a situation where, as I'm following up with folks on participation, particularly for veterans, they will mention that they have, a veteran or someone who, was part of their crew. But I think for some folks, I don't know if you've run into this, but, they may not want to be necessarily identified as, has that been your experience too? Sorry.
It can happen, and then look if a guy is in the reserve, I'm okay with that too. So technically, someone will say, well, they don't qualify because they didn't go. We're not here to nitpick. But there are probably guys that do not want to ID as a veteran for whatever their personal reason is. So yeah, you are correct on that, probably too.
Right.
That's true. I don't identify as a veteran, but I am one. But I never identify as such. It's not something, I didn't go to war. I don't deserve that honor of being claimed as a veteran. I just got paid and ate their food. But anyway, Tim, did you have anything you wanted to share or add? I think Tim might be frozen because it doesn't look like he's moving. As a courtesy to the guests, which is Charlie Payne, you're not a voting member, but if you would like to ask a question, just for the sake of moving things along, getting this, please feel free. And the same thing for Fontaine.
I'm also a veteran. And the thing is, it's never really been a priority and never been asked. And it's so, I worked at MGM. I was the first carpenter they hired. And they said, hey, we got to hire a veteran. I said, really? I'm a veteran. They said, well, why didn't you tell us? And I didn't know. It was never a priority. So it is that you absolutely have a point. I'd also like to just say, I don't know if it's a question, comment, but I want to point out Springfield College and the 31 Elm Street project that are going on right now with the residency. There's requirements on both of those projects, as well as DeBerry, and I'm spread thin with city. I can't just bring in Springfield residents, but this REO as a whole has increased the Springfield residency on all the projects in the city. So even if we come short a little bit here and there as a whole, and 2 of those jobs are Fontaine's jobs. And if you walk 31 Elm Street and look at the folks that are working there, I made sure, at least with the carpenters, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but the steward on that job is African-American. That job reflects the complexion of the city. And Springfield College, they called me and asked for 5 women. And look at me. Do you think I have 5 women available? Come on. But they did. And 3 of them were city residents. And one of them I was able to take in and transfer to 2 of them to DeBerry for a time. So this REO is working, and you can't look at it as one job in a silo. You have to look at it across the board, the effect it's had on every project. And those are private projects I'm talking about, that the REO has directly impacted and increased participation. Enough of my speech, but I just want to point that out. So you guys, the work you're doing is important and it's good. It's working.
Thank you. Tim, did you have anything you want to add or question?
I just want to thank Charlie for that. It's good to hear. It's good to hear that the work, that some good work is being done, and we don't just fight. We're not just fighting against City Hall, so to speak, every couple of weeks or every month. Thank you, Charlie, for that.
You deserve it.
Well, Eli, go ahead, Liz.
On a point real quick. So I did have my application process. I finally got a hold of my numbers. I don't even have one applicant from the Springfield area. I've already started reaching out to some welding schools. I did just take a woman in last week. So I have a women welder that just came in. But one of the things Charlie just pointed out is they're calling the union for women. There's 80 other contractors out there. How many were really union? My only point is we have to really get on the rest of those contractors. It's not just the unions that are supposed to have them. And I'm not saying the other companies don't. There's some really great companies out there. I'm just trying to point out that, everybody on these sites need to get it. This is a law. This is the way it's going to be. So it's not going away. And the other thing too, I want to be clear that I am still pushing with that law that I sent everybody to try to get the city of Springfield to make a committee that would review just the REO requirement, and they can actually eliminate non-compliant file sub-bidders at some point going forward that do not ever meet the requirements around our law. So hopefully someone will finally listen and we can get that to really strongly be looked at in the city. Thanks.
We have no other reports. I take that Eloy is not prepared to no disrespect to him, but he didn't know Che wasn't going to be here. I guess Che didn't share any for me. So I assume there's no reports for any other projects. Is that correct, Eloy?
Correct.
Melvin, do we know so can we get a list at least in the minutes today that we would request a list of what's coming up? I do know that I went through some Dodge reports last week. We've got 3 city school window jobs coming up. I don't know what else popped up. I don't know. I don't think horizontal of field qualifies, correct? I don't know if it does or doesn't. I know we got the school by my house is doing a field renovation.
Duggan Middle School.
Yeah, Duggan. So if we can get a list of what, again, I'm only seeing one report. We never really saw anything from Forest Park. So I don't even know what else besides this one project and that one that we've had over the last couple months. Those are the only 2 projects I know of. I don't even know what's coming up. So at some point, would like to see a list if we could. Thanks.
Eloy, is that something you can make a note of, please, and pass it on to Che? And actually, we shouldn't and doesn't have to wait to the meeting to send that out. He could just send out by email to the board a list of the whatever's in the pipeline.
I will.
Mr. Fontaine, you have anything you'd like to share or add? Actually, I was in a meeting without sharing names, but I was in a meeting earlier today. Your name came up or your company came up and it was spoken of very highly. So I just, without sharing confidences, but just wanted to let you know, it wasn't in the context of Homer Brookings or the Brookings Swan. It was just generally. Just wanted to applaud your company, and they are building a good reputation outside of the REO.
Thanks, Melvin. Appreciate it.
And
nothing else to add. Charlie said it all. I was with Charlie last week on site with the Stewart, trying to please people. Couldn't do it without Liz. She's been great. She's right in front of me, trying to get the guys that are coming up next, and we get together with the unions, and if it's not a union company, with the owners of the non-union companies, and just try to reinforce this is the contract that we all signed up for, and they all have been receptive, and I think have tried to the best of their ability. The one thing I'm a Springfield guy, I grew up in Springfield, played basketball with the mayor. What I see is we were like 35% on a minority list.
Yes, so that's the goal, yep, and being at
Right.
19%.
I think where we're struggling a little bit is the residents, is we're like at 20%, and I wish it was a little bit different, but I think we're a little bit stronger on the minority side, but it falls off with the residents. We've tried, Melvin, we've reached out to the churches, to the other organizations. We've had some folks come in and just, work for a little bit and then decided they didn't want to work anymore. So it's been a struggle, but we're getting there. It's almost done.
I see Fiore's got a hand up, but I kind of agree, and I just simply say the scope of my interest in employment goes well beyond just construction. And as such, people are struggling across the city. I won't speak outside our region, but across our region, they are struggling to get people to be employed, period. And I am a bit frustrated because I get the complaints from people that I am not employed, or the descriptions of the workforce that exists in the city and across the city. And, sometimes I just have to be straight out frank. My mother told me I shove dog shit before I steal. And if you're not working, it's because you really choose not to work in this environment, because you don't have to be strong enough to carry a 50-pound bag of cement or be able to do tie rebar. There's so many opportunities, and there's even so many training programs and opportunities. And the thing is when I throw stuff back at people, like, oh, I need a job. And I'm like, well, they're training people to be truck drivers. Oh, I got a bad back. I was like, they need CNAs. Well, I can't, I got a sick stomach. I can't do that type of work. I don't have temperament for that. The police department is hiring. Oh yeah, well, they're all killers. It's just because people say things loudly and they say it repeatedly, don't make it true. So I applaud anything that you guys in the construction trades are doing, because whoever you can get in the door, if you can get them to come back and keep working, then I applaud you, because it just seems like there's so many people not interested in work. Fiore, I know you.
I just, again, so, it's not like anybody said to me, I got interviewed when my contractor was there. The problem was I had two veterans that both quit that were there in the project. So they weren't there very long. We had, they got sent out, didn't have anybody to replace the two, and they left. Had a great city resident, minority kid, scared crapless about going on the iron. I mean, so he actually quit the industry at that point. And what's funny, the guy loved them when I tell you, he's like, I'll take this kid to every job that I go to in the future. That's how good the kid was. So, those are the things that we deal with. And, and again, the contractor is only there for my guys. They bang it out. That particular contractor, when he is on these projects, what was he there for 7 weeks? No one's going to give a 3, 4, 6 month job to go there for 7 weeks as they're done. So at the end of the day, the numbers, what they are, as long as we as the union, we are trying to rebuild both our women numbers, because we had a couple, one just got hurt. The other one, dropped out, went back into nursing. So, we take them in, they drop out. We just continue the cycle of rebuilding. And that's what contractors are supposed to do, as we do as the union. Do the effort to rebuild their numbers or make sure they have them. I don't care what a guy's from. I'm just picking farthest end of the state, outside of Pittsfield, pick somewhere. What's the farthest point of Williamsburg town? I don't care where you're from. If you're going to continue to work in the city, you better start hiring people from the city. That's all that's what I mean by that. Thanks. I'm all done for today.
Anything else that we need to discuss? Reasonable timed meeting. Charlie?
Have we considered, maybe something to help contractors as they come in to work with the city, like best practices? I think that it would be helpful. I mean, the most successful contractors that I've had have been proactive. They call me 6 weeks before they get to the job, and they say, hey, how did this work before? What's the best thing? And, some people listen, some don't. I had one guy who had a 3-month job. He said, I said to him, listen, if you're going to hire a city resident woman, you need to do it now. Don't wait till the end of the job. And he hesitated. He didn't want to do it. And he had a week left and asked me for a woman. And I said, I'm not comfortable bringing in somebody to the union who I've been waiting to put in for a 1-week job. Frankly, I'm not giving, he goes, well, just write me a letter. I said, no, you're not getting a letter. If you get a letter, it's going to say that you actually essentially waited till the last minute and you didn't do your due diligence. But I think to get ahead of that, like the best practices, the things that that we found, and we could, I mean, you guys could put your heads together, but the things that have worked the best has been the contractors that are proactive and they reach out. And then when they come and work in the city, they also, I mean, the carpenters can travel all over New England. So to be thoughtful, like Fiore said, they start taking somebody that they like from the city and integrate them into their crew, move them around with them. And then when they come back here to do the next job, they don't have to search and hire a new hire. They already have somebody who's buying gas in paying their bills in Springfield, paying their mortgage in Springfield. And it works out. And once people are comfortable, once they get past the shock and awe of a new employee, oh my God, we got a woman on the job. Now it's like no big deal. And but just bringing them in, making part of the crew. If we had some the things that have helped people be successful, I think it'd be, on future projects, I think it would help them make it easier.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie, thank you so much for mentioning that, because that's something that I've been thinking about, and certainly we're happy to help, however we can from our position. Because I mean, right, like we've had conversations where, of how that does, make a difference. And we've actually, had some really successful, non-union contractors, right? They're not from the area, but they're able to, to have participation across the REO. So we're more than happy to help, put something like that together or be part of that conversation in any way that you feel would be appropriate for us to.
Okay. Well, Liz, if it's your convenience, could you give me a call? I'd like to try to schedule some time to spend with you just to talk about some things, not necessarily completely REO related. And you have my number, I believe, 413-348-8036. That's the best number, and just schedule a few minutes together. And then for the rest of you, Eloy, you'll pass on the information that Fiore requested to Che and send that out as soon as possible. And then we can follow up and have it, and also send the document also to include it to Sean in the council staff offices to be included onto the next agenda. And I know we're moving into vacation time. I'll try to get something done. June is going to be hard. We're going into budget season, and we have to get that done by July 1st, or I believe for the fiscal calendar year. So Tim can attest to the volume of council meetings that are probably going to be occurring. But there is a very, very short chance that, maybe Tim and his colleagues will, just ask all their questions in committee, and then when we get to the committee of the whole, we'll be able to just kind of glide approval of the budget right through. But I don't think so. But in any event, thank you, everybody. If there's nothing else, I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll see you when I see you.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.